Welcome to That's Good Sports. I'm Brandon. I wish I was playing Red Dead Redemption 2 instead of making this shitty football prediction video. Perna. I did pre-order the game, but based on my previous order history, this is what Amazon sent. First of all, Amazon, I only read gay erotica written by men. What does Tabitha Austin know about gay cowboy fantasies? Tabitha lost me at The Aliens and the Omega. Second, to make up for the delay of the arrival of Red Dead Redemption, I expect to keep this book for free, Amazon. Now that I have aired my grievances with Amazon, we can move on to discussing all of the football games for the weekend. Except for Jags Philly, which I'm putting in a separate video because I couldn't stop making dumb jokes. That's Good Sports. If you're new here, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you're old here, I would appreciate you clicking the notification button. Otherwise, YouTube will try to make me irrelevant by never showing you my videos. Also, this episode is sponsored by BetDSI.com, one of the most trusted sports books out there. So if you want to do some sports betting, use my promo code GS100 and BetDSI will match your first deposit up to $1,000. $1,000! There's a link in the description to get you to BetDSI. It's what I use to make all of my sports bets. And we'll start with the Cleveland Browns versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are 8-point favorites with an over-under of 49. The line for this game is Steelers -8. So I guess that means Vegas thinks Pittsburgh is going to score a touchdown and then go for 2 in overtime. Considering that's impossible, I think the odds makers really screwed the pooch on this one. Now, I'm rooting for the Browns and Steelers to tie twice in one season, mostly so it confuses everyone in the standings at the end of the year, and we have no idea if the Steelers are the 2 seed in the AFC or not even in the playoffs. Also, a tie is the best conclusion for Todd Haley coaching against his former team for the first time on Heinz Field. Symbolic of his relationship with Big Ben, really. Not good, but not bad. If you think Ben Roethlisberger understands the math that goes into figuring out ties, then you are sorely mistaken. Ben Roethlisberger doesn't even know how to tie a tie. Because he's dumb. Also, Juju Smith-Schuster played the Mega Millions $1.6 billion jackpot in hopes, in winning, that the team could pay Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell played Mega Millions so that he would never have to play for the Steelers ever again. I'm taking the Steelers, but not to cover the 8-point spread. And I am pulling for that tie. Seattle Seahawks versus Detroit Lions. Lions, 3-point favorites, over under at 49. Now, I haven't talked much about the Lions this season, and that is intentional, because every time I say something positive about them, they get poached, as if a rich dentist were on safari. So, to help the Lions, who are my secret favorite team every year, they don't stand a nail-biting chance in Satan's root canal and beating the up-and-coming Seahawks on Sunday. What are the Lions going to do? Rely on the most underrated QB in the NFL, Matthew Stafford, to throw the team to victory against what has quietly become the #1 passing defense in the league? Is Kerryon Johnson gonna rush for over 100 yards for the 3rd time this season, like he's the new Barry Sanders? He better run for 200 yards to keep Russell Wilson from scoring, like he's engaged to Ciara again. I also made sure my wife didn't have sex with me before marriage. Had she done so, well, we wouldn't be married. Nothing eases the pressure of being terrible at sex like marriage. Like sex, everything about this game confuses me. These teams are like exactly the same, 3-3, trying to find their identity, a running game that is just taking off, and good quarterbacks. So give me the Seattle Seahawks, so the Lions win. Baltimore Ravens at Carolina Panthers. Ravens 2.5-point favorites, over under 44. The Ravens lost last week on a missed extra point by Justin Tucker, of all things. That's like the Warriors losing on a Steph Curry free throw, Tiger Woods losing on a 1-foot putt, or Marlins man missing the television cameras by 1 row. You just don't expect it to happen. Meanwhile, the Panthers might be the 3rd best team in the NFC behind the Rams and Saints. That's not really saying much now that I look at it, but if you can be the third best at anything, you'll usually take it. Unless you're the third best looking person in a threesome. Isn't that right, Tabitha? Speaking of threes, Ravens win by 3, covering the spread. Speaking of spreads, let's talk more about threesomes. New York Jets at Chicago Bears. Bears 7.5 point favorites with an over-under of 45. In all seriousness, I do want to wish Bilal Powell a speedy recovery. His career is currently in jeopardy due to a neck injury. He needs to have surgery on it. I hope that his career is not over. That's the one thing I don't want to make jokes of here on my stupid YouTube channel. So Bilal, get well soon, man. The Bears. The Bears were 1 yard short of going into overtime with the Patriots, which puts them in the company of the 1999 Titans. And also, the Titans from a week ago. I guess Mitch Trubisky is better than Sam Darnold. I think Khalil Mack's injury is more serious than the Bears are leading on, and Chicago has given up 34.5 points per game over the last 2 weeks. No way they win by 7.5. What the fuck happened to that Bears defense? But I'll still pick the Bears to win, I don't know, by 3? Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus Cincinnati Bengals. The Bang Bangs, 4-point favorites with an over-under of 54.5. The Bang Bangs is a cool name for the Bengals, by the way. Now, if you thought the Browns-Bucks game from last week was bad on the eyes, this game is going to be the aesthetic version of an ice pick lobotomy. It's going to be a horrible bukkake of stripes, crossbones, and Jolly Rodgers. And with Vontaze Burfict on the field, it'll be like a game of Twister, pulling limbs every which way. The Bucks barely avoided a tie against the Browns, which is extremely impressive. It's like shirking the grip of death itself and going on to live another day, which is how most people describe what it's like to live in Tampa. Bengals. Washington Redskin Potatoes versus New York Giants. Giants are now a 1-point favorite with an over-under of 42.5. I picked Washington to finish dead last in the division. I thought they were the least talented team in the division. That is still true, yet they are in first place. They are the classic overachievers. They're still the oldest team in the division though. Alex Smith, Vernon Davis, and Adrian Peterson would have been the most lethal trio in the NFL back in 2011. In fact, if Adrian Peterson was on the 49ers in 2011 with Smith and Davis, they would have beaten the Giants in the playoffs, but then would have lost to the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and Aaron Hernandez would forever be known as a Super Bowl hero, and he would have gone on to kill again, his second victim being me, which would have never allowed me to start this channel, which means you'd just be watching Urinating Tree instead right now, and that is called the butterfly effect. If you do ever time travel, you cannot make even the slightest alteration to the past. It's too risky, and you could end up making out with your mom, which is why I'm picking the 49ers. Indianapolis Colts versus Oakland Raiders. Colts 3-point favorites, over-under of 50.5. This week, a story about Derek Carr came out saying that his teammates lost respect for him when he cried on the field during the London game. This is the image they used to show evidence of him not being a man. To me, this is evidence that he was not crying. Derek Carr is the one NFL player you can always tell if he's crying because his mascara would totally be running. And yes, I made that joke on Twitter just 3 minutes before Barstool Sports PFT commenter. No, I do not believe he copied me, and I tweeted him about it, asked him to follow me, which he did, and then he sent me a nice DM. And I'm trying to get him to get me a job with that company. So if you want to tweet PFT commenter and say, "We support Brandon Perna at Barstool," go right ahead. Not that I need it, because That's Good Sports is so successful on its own. Now, Broncos fans know firsthand with Paxton Lynch that crying on television is basically the nail in the coffin for your career. So I understand Derek Carr trying to save face here. I don't know if crying is worse than wearing plaid pants, but I'm not sure I want my quarterback doing either. If you don't think crying is bad in football, do you remember the exact moment the entire world lost respect for Tom Brady? No, it was way before he cried. Andrew Luck is going to win this game though, because he finally decided to fully focus on football again and leave the cast of Peaky fucking Blinders. He was never really hurt. He was just acting his ass off. Also because he has 20 touchdown passes through 7 games despite having no help on offense. Green Bay Packers versus Los Angeles Rams. Rams, 9-point favorites, over under 56.5. Vegas has very little respect for Aaron Rodgers coming off a bye week and letting that knee rest. And I think the Packers have a pretty good chance to pull off an upset. My only concern is that since Aaron Rodgers has been with beautiful women his entire life, I don't know if he has enough experience beating Goff to end the Rams' undefeated season. The QB who may actually have the most experience beating Goff based on their inability to not get laid is probably Mike Glennon, or maybe Tim Tebow. Now this could end up being a trap game for the Rams with their Mexico City showdown with the Chiefs on the horizon next week, so they need to be careful. Yeah, fuck it, who am I kidding? The Rams are probably gonna win. San Francisco 49ers at Arizona Cardinals. Niners, 1-point favorites, over under 42.5. Now let's take a moment of silence for the people without Red Zone in Northern California and Arizona who will have to watch this game instead of Packers Rams. And if you are one of those people, what the hell are you doing? Red Zone is awesome. There's not much to say about this game. New Orleans Saints at Minnesota Vikings. Right now this game's dead even on the books with the 52 over under. The Saints traded with the Giants this week to acquire corner Eli Apple, which was always a bad fit in my opinion with the Giants. Eli Manning was the Eli in the Big Apple. Eli Apple was just insert joke bad enough that I won't even read it. Now the NFL YouTube channel put out this video titled Drew Brees' best win versus every team. I wonder which highlights they'll choose for his one victory over the Ravens last week. We'll see if he can start a 2-game streak of beating teams in purple. Up next, the Colorado Rockies and the Sacramento Kings. Brees hates purple. He hates Grimace from McDonald's. He hates Purple Rain by Prince, but he has a very sinister and bizarre soft spot for Tinky Winky from the Teletubbies. I think the Vikings actually win this one, but I never bet against a man and his hate for color. Wait, no, that sounds wrong. That sounds bad. New England Patriots versus Buffalo Bills, Pats. 13.5-point favorites, that's the biggest spread of the week, over under 44. A lot of the time, ESPN can't help it when they get a bad matchup on Monday night. Like last week, they didn't know the Giants-Falcons would be such a bad game before the season, but there's no excuse for Patriots-Bills. This is just negligence on the part of ESPN, ABC, Disney, Mickey Mouse, whoever, and I'm considering filing a class action lawsuit against all of them. Wouldn't be the first time me and Mickey went to court. It gets even worse when you factor in that it's Derek Anderson starting for the Bills. You could at least sell me on Nathan Peterman and the race to see if he breaks the interception record before Tom Brady breaks the touchdown record. Instead, we're just watching two quarterbacks that peaked in 2007. Awesome. Pats win. Not awesome. And those are all of your football picks. Again, the Philly Jags game will be up after this. And please subscribe here on YouTube if you haven't already. I'm on Twitter at Brandon Perna, Instagram at Brandon Perna. Will Keys, who helps me write these episodes, we posted our podcast today. It's on my second channel, That's Good Podcasts. That is all the self-promotion I can fit in 20 seconds for the YouTube end slate.